President Biden issued the first veto of his presidency yesterday, shooting down a bill which would have prevented private fiduciaries from considering environmental social governance measures, or ESG, in their investment decisions. In a video statement entitled "President Biden Vetoes Extreme MAGA Limitations on Retirement Funds," our commander-in-chief had this to say.
I just signed this veto because the legislation passed by the Congress would put at risk the retirement savings of individuals across the country. They couldn't take into consideration investments that wouldn't be impacted by climate, impacted by overpaying executives, and that's why I decided to veto it. It makes sense to veto it.
All right, well, our next guest has been a leading voice in the crusade to eliminate ESG initiatives, Florida Chief Financial Officer Jimmy Patronis. Jimmy, welcome back to the show. Always good to see you. All right, so you actually put out a statement yesterday in response to Biden's veto, saying this in part: if ESG is such a great investment, it would not need a governmental regulation to protect it. Such an amazing point. But at the end of the day, Jimmy, where does this ultimately leave Americans?
You know, if I'm a firefighter, if I'm a law enforcement, if I'm a police officer, I would be outraged with Congress. I'd be outraged with this administration that they don't care about the bottom line of my returns on my investment. They have lost their way as a fiduciary. Inflation is up. It's costing people more than ever to live in their own homes. Interest rates are going up. Banks are failing. And the Joe Biden administration is choosing ESG over returns on investments for the citizens of this country.
It's unbelievable. Democratic Senator Joe Manchin and John Tester, they actually voted with Republicans in order to get this bill to Biden's desk that he vetoed. And here was what Senator Manchin had to say in response to Biden's veto. He said this: the administration continues to prioritize their radical policy agenda over the economic, energy, and national security needs of our country, and it's absolutely infuriating. This ESG rule jeopardizes the hard-earned retirement savings of 150 million West Virginians and Americans. You've actually been very outspoken, as I've mentioned, on this, but working ultimately, too, with conservative states to protect investors, to navigate around these ESG initiatives. So now that the president has vetoed this on a federal level, does that change what you're trying to do and what you'll be able to do on the state level?
Absolutely not. This is exactly why we divested $2 billion from BlackRock. Dad always said, if you want to get somebody's attention, you get into their pocketbook. So again, in the state of Florida, we moved out of BlackRock. It was not performing. It was the middle of the pack. We decided to move our money in other ways to get better returns on those incredible responsibilities we have as a fiduciary. But Governor DeSantis has been leading. We've created a coalition with about 17 other states as we're going to continue to push back. I mean, we've got to keep this a front burner issue. And, you know, look, I appreciate the bipartisan effort, but, you know, it's an embarrassment that we've got an administration that does not care about hardworking Americans. The middle class is getting killed by the inflation tax that's taking place right now. And all we see is a continued pounding on their savings and their inability to make ends meet, because this administration is putting politics and their own social agenda over people's livelihoods.
I mean, that's why we saw so many people move to Florida, to your state, because you guys are doing such a good job there. I want to get your take on this, though, because Sam Bankman-Fried, that crypto wizard that crashed his own company, FTX, into the ground last year, he ultimately became this truth teller for ESG and essentially said that he manipulated ESG to help his now bankrupt crypto firm to avoid scrutiny from regulators and gain credibility with investors. And Jimmy, when I think about it, that's ultimately what we saw happen this past week with the collapse of Silicon Valley Bank. There was concern that their board members had nothing to do with banking, knew nothing about banking, and that regulators had been overlooking all these red flags from their investments for months. So how concerning is it that we're seeing maybe a pattern here?
Well, it's incredibly concerning. You know, and I keep on telling my team, I said, what's happened with FTX is a big concern, because I think about the Florida investors that are involved with FTX. And now you hear Sam Bankman-Fried was moving money around to the tune of billions to other silos in order to try to pay his legal fees or pay off his investors or pay himself. You know, and this guy should be buried underneath the jail. And, you know, this narrative that they were able to sell and be able to push through Congress. You know, I said, I want a list of everybody who received a contribution from Sam Bankman-Fried, and they should return every nickel of it, or at least should go to a trust in order to make people whole. This is, in my opinion, this is corruption at the highest level, and it's an embarrassment that these people even hold an office in Washington.
Well, and the fact that says he was using ESG so that people would look into him because they liked what he's doing. The liberal thinkers liked what he was doing at the end of the day. I mean, that to me is such a red flag there. Jimmy, it's always good to see you. Thanks for speaking up on these things.
Thank you. Great to see you, Lindsay. Take care. Your hair looks great, too.
Oh, thank you so much. Thanks, Jimmy.